It's a good tune.
It's a great tune.
You're a great tune.
Thanks, dude.
This is the show where we talk about all the things that we want to talk about.
One thing I wanted to start with for today was to make a just to provide some context to our last episode. Because
this one has to be the next one released then.
Yeah. I mean, that's the plan at least.
So was up time.
To episode 8, a qualifier to episode 8, which was the last one for us. I was editing it, and we went and we had made reference to like going to church and like religious shit, but we didn't say it in a jokey way. So I'm like, it makes us sound like we're very religious people.
Oh shit!
Because you were talking about when,
like if you when I go to church,
when you, like what kind of clothes you wear when you go to church.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, formal.
And then we were like, yeah, church, but we didn't say like, oh, but fuck church, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then again later, I made a reference to Adam and Eve, but it didn't sound like I was joking. I'm like, fuck, I hope it doesn't make us sound like we're fucking religious nuts.
No, not at all. Not even close.
I don't know. I was listening to that.
Yeah, just to reiterate. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm not. I was raised Roman Catholic. You know what? Here's the journey. Okay.
Oh,
I was
God.
Roman Catholic till about I was
Who the fuck cares?
Till I was like 17, and then went to college, right? And it wasn't like anybody specifically brought it up to me or whatever, but I kind of started watching YouTube videos of the new wave atheists, like Dawkins, like Hitchens, rest in peace, Sam Harris, and what's the other guy's name? Dickens, whatever. And then that completely swayed me to the opposite side, right? I was an anti-theist. I'm like, no, fuck that, dude. Like, I think religion's actually a bad thing in general, whatever. And then now I'm more of I don't think religion's a bad thing. I don't necessarily believe that there is a God, but I do think that cherry picking the good parts of religion isn't a bad thing.
No, of course
and
not.
choosing the stories to show ideas is a great thing.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you should follow it like it's, again, the problem is like following it like it's a doctrine, like it's a dogma? No. Right? You pick and choose. But I think some of the things, like I think the one thing that swayed me is like, you know this, but like listening to Jordan Peterson talk about specifically the Bible and whatever, really opened up my eyes to that thing. It's like there's this thing that's like I forgot what it's called. It's not a Jordan Peterson theist. It's something else. It's like a modern theist or whatever.
Okay.
It's somebody who, this is what people have coined it. Somebody who thinks like the ideas, who follows the ideas that of like what Jordan Peterson was bringing up. Right. Like about how the stories have value. They still hold value.
Yeah.
Intrinsic deep value.
Human morality kind of grew out of, like, religion was a way to live your life. It was a way to explain certain things that were unexplainable, like disease, like what happens after you die, right? People just wanted sort of meaning, right?
So the idea of truth, right? It's like, is it true that the reason why you're feeling sick is because you didn't do something? It's like, no, you're not. You're feeling sick because you have a bacteria or whatever, or a virus. Now, does that say that you shouldn't wash your hands regularly?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was a way of life. It was a way to develop morals and how to, like, a way to live a good life.
Yeah,
it was a guide. It wasn't
an
system.
actual truth.
No, it was
a truth.
It was a guidance system. Yeah. Man, I'm reading this book. It was I don't know if you listened to this Joe Rogan episode. It was a guy named Brian Muraresku on there. He was talking about, he wrote a book called The Immortality Key. It's about like the psychedelic, the origins of religion and how it probably has a psychedelic influence. Like people like so the idea is that the ancient Greeks were at this place called Eleusis, were practicing psychedelic rituals to like see God, and it was still paganism, right? It was before Christianity, but then it was around like the 3rd, 4th century, and during the rise of Christianity, as people were getting converted, as a way to bring people into the religion, they didn't like make them follow a certain set of principles. They just like they basically took the traditions they already had in the pagan rituals, and like made sort of like a Christian version of that, like taking the host, like they would drink, like ergot is, right? It's a fungus that grows on wheat, and it has psychedelic properties.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would
Something that was happening in the U.S. during like the Salem. They were saying that a lot of people were hallucinating and shit because of that. Okay, and it's because of
but
that, that reminded that ergot, right?
Yeah, but it was
what the mold was.
So if you have it like in its like, I guess it's like purest form, just right off the wheat, it can actually cause, it's like a poison. But like the ancient Greeks, they mix it into this like cup. It was like a spiked beer kind of thing, and they would drink it as like a sacrament. So that's kind of like the way the blood of Christ was allegedly made. Like, so rather than like make these new rituals for them to follow, they just took what they already did, and it was like, we'll just keep doing what you're doing, except it's Christian now, and you have to say Jesus instead of Zeus.
I mean, it makes sense.
Okay, it's like a good way to do it, but it's like, it's wild. So like,
but then what about people that were doing that before the whole idea of what it's doing, right? Using bread and making it like the whole gospel, right? The four gospels explained it the similar way, right? He took bread and he said it's him. He took blood. I mean, wine. He said this is blood. This is him. Whatever, right? Well, so if that's what the thing was, then I don't know if they were doing it necessarily because they were already doing something similar to it, or they didn't stop doing that because they said, "Well, we have something similar."
Yeah, I mean, the details are not necessarily like what is really easy to find, but it's more like the point ultimately is for one way or another, psychedelic rituals the idea is that it's not, I don't think nothing's been proven, but there's a lot of good evidence.
Yeah, of course. There's also like the whole burning bush thing. They're saying that Moses was saying
the acacia plant. Yeah, exactly.
But again, this is all like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I think the whole point is like, instead of, I think that's the whole point, right? You don't need to try to, I don't know how to say, rationalize the story to get the value from the story. You can rationalize
I'm just,
it. Who does do that?
I'm saying I think the way people are adopted wasn't because they were forced to, like a lot of I guess how it really got its staying
power.
It's
not Islam.
No. Well, I mean, because it was such a new religion, they didn't have rituals yet, so they just took whatever they were already doing, and I'm ultimately the point of like what I was just trying to say is like, it's the origin. Well, first of all, the origins of religion are wild. It's so cool. I find, I don't know why. Like, I love.
We got to see what civilization was like at the time. Of course,
that's what I mean. Like,
wild,
even
right?
just
they were wild people.
And like the power Christianity had is like so crazy. Like how Anyway, I'm not. We don't have to get into like just history stuff, but I guess a part of the reason they did the bread, was because I guess so there was like not an obsession, but a sacredness behind wheat and agriculture. It was like a way to.
You think when it was written, they had that in mind? When it was written, when they were saying that when Jesus had the 12 disciples,
the stories were written like hundreds of years later. So like the actual facts are.
That's what I mean. So the people who were writing it down, I mean, the reason why they did it to begin with,
was because of these.
Because that would make sense. Where it's like, okay, we're gonna use what's something that we hold dear to ourselves.
Yeah.
That's food wise. Okay, bread,
wheat,
lamb, right?
Yeah.
So, that would make sense if they were writing the story, or they did the things right. Sorry, the reason why they did those things to be written about was because they were already doing things similar to that before. Is what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah,
okay, I'm getting exactly what you're saying now.
Yeah, like, I mean,
I thought it was happening at the same time.
No, so there's like a transition.
Like that's
right?
how they spread the word. They're like, well, we already do this, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Like, so the idea is that obviously let's assume Jesus died in the year 0, and from then on, like Christianity spread, right? And
close to 38 AD.
Whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like, just use a rough point. It doesn't take hold right away. It's not like the whole world knows about Christianity. It takes a couple hundred years. So about the year, I think the 3rd, 4th century is about the time when it really starts to become widespread and ubiquitous and being adopted by all kinds of people, because it wasn't central to a land, right? Like most religions prior to Christianity, they were all like, if you're from this land, you
follow this
religion, or if you're of these people, this is your religion. This Christianity was like anybody could be Christian. It's like the idea of the United States, right? Like all immigrants, like all in one. Like that's why the Roman Empire.
That's funny. I was gonna say. So you're saying it's the best religion?
Well,
It was most easily adopted.
they took things like they removed barriers essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it was best, it was the most widespread because of the features of it. But obviously there wasn't an instant adoption, right? It took a couple hundred years, and the biggest at the time, the ancient Greeks were like, they were the pinnacle of society, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
followed these particular rituals, by these pagan gods, and they had these certain rituals. They did
When you're
psychedelic-
saying pagan gods, you're saying
pagan gods meaning Zeus and
Okay.
like
so because when someone says a pagan god, they don't.
they were pagans, like
I understand that.
technically by
I
definition.
know, that's what I'm
right?
saying. Technically, they're pagans, but when you say something
Greek
like a
gods,
pagan god,
Greek gods,
yeah, you should
ancient
say
Greek
Greek
gods.
gods. Because if you say pagan gods, I'm thinking you're talking about like nature.
But I'm talking in relation to Christianity, right? Like their
Yeah,
version.
no, I know that. I know it's every other religion is whatever a pagan. You can
Yeah,
argue,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Unless they say they worship the same god or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, just say fucking Greek gods.
Sorry,
Because that's what people know
well,
them as.
whatever.
right?
But anyways, the point was what I was going to say was, Demeter was the god of agriculture, and some of the evidence is that there's a lot of what do you call them? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Displays or renderings of Demeter, right? And a lot of them see her holding a stalk of wheat, and so that's where the idea of the sacredness of bread in the body of Christ came from. So like, that's the kind of evidence that people are seeing, but again, it's all just like kind of conjecture. There's not a lot of writing. The problem was that the people that did the Eleusinian mysteries, they never wrote anything down. Yeah, but like Aristotle, like Sophocles or Socrates, like all those like philosopher guys, Homer, yeah, but also,
Dude, I know my Greek shit. Okay.
well done, yeah. They all came to Eleusis to find like the mysteries and stuff.
Isn't it funny that you feel you have some sort of responsibility of knowing Greek culture?
I don't feel like
ancient Greek culture.
I don't feel like I have a responsibility because
Well, you should.
I feel like I feel like a desire to learn it, because obviously there's a point where like my heritage could have not been Greek. Like we could have been immigrants to Greece and just kept breeding with Greeks and then just became Greek, right? Like I could have it doesn't necessarily mean I have lineage back to the ancient Greeks, but if I did, that'd be sick. And that makes me want to learn more about
If I did,
ancient Greek culture. I mean, how cool would it be? That's why, if I could have a superpower, it's not really a superpower, but just an ability, to read history like a movie, or watch like a movie, or read it like a book.
I think that'd be terrifying.
No, that'd be so cool to just know.
I think you would think that.
What?
Like right now, because I think you're seeing it as still a movie. But I think if you were to actually watch those atrocities happen, you would be like, "This is
okay.
fucked,"
Okay,
because
maybe
this happened.
not. What I mean is like I could read like a book, so I could know exactly what
Yes,
happened
yes.
without any sort of hearsay.
Yes,
I could just
you want to know
witness
exactly
it.
what the truth is.
Want to know what the truth was.
Yeah.
How did Christianity actually
Yeah,
become?
I know what
What
you're saying, just
happened when
breaking your
Jesus
balls.
died? Right?
Yeah.
Like those are like
if he actually existed.
if he actually right exactly like they're just
How crazy would it be if that actually existed?
if I could just imagine being able to rewind time and you could just watch, maybe this not watch it exactly, but watch your ancestors be unborn and look how far back you go, like what like your ancient
Man, I just
ancestors were
love
doing.
living in the city, eh?
Huh?
Just love living in the city. We got a car horn earlier. We got a fucking police siren.
Stay
now.
having murders, baby.
But imagine if there was a god, and they with him actually gave a fuck.
What do you mean? What do you
Like
mean
they
by gay?
actually gave a fuck about individuals. And imagine if you were one of those people. Like imagine like Noah or Moses or Ezekiel, whoever these prophets were.
Ezekiel's kind of bread.
Yeah, I know.
It's gross.
I've never had it.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, no thanks. But imagine if these people actually saw this person, like actually saw God.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, dude, I'm serious." And everybody's like, "Yeah."
It can never
Sure,
happen.
buddy.
People would never believe him.
But that's what I mean. Like imagine modern time.
Yeah.
Like if it was revealed to you.
What would you do? Yeah.
It's like that moment like in oh my god. Okay. I'm sorry. In Twilight,
Your
first movie.
Your favorite movie.
It's not my favorite movie.
It's your favorite movie.
In Twilight, in the first one. Sorry. So in Twilight.
Yeah.
The scene where the car happens and he blocks the car.
Dude, I don't know the scene.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go over the scene. Okay, whatever. She's standing by a car. He's like 100 feet away. This guy's van comes coming in. It starts sliding. It's gonna hit her. Edward comes, stops the van, and runs away. Okay, whatever. That's the scene. Okay, so it's revealed that he has powers.
Yeah.
To her, and the whole scene is after that. when they're in the hospital, she goes, I want to talk to you. And she, tell me. And then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about at first. Like, blah, blah, blah. He goes, she keeps asking about it. He goes, just leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. Then she asks him a third time, and he turns to her and he goes, it's not like anybody's going to believe you anyway.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you know something super cool.
And no matter what.
And no matter what, no one's going to, because it's crazy. Imagine if someone's like, dude, honest to God, so-and-so's a vampire. You'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I don't know, man. I feel like maybe the people closest to you could convince. I feel like I could.
But maybe that's what it was. Think about, no, not maybe that's what it was. But imagine that was the case.
Yeah.
Because Moses had his mans, right? Jesus had his dudes. No one didn't have anybody.
His posses.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He has entourage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, imagine if that was the case. Like they were actually true. You knew now, and you couldn't convince anybody. Would you I'm assuming I would do the same thing. I would just if I was told to leave, I would just go.
I would follow the religion at that point.
Right?
Of course I would.
Dude, how do you know what you're saying is real though?
You know what I would like too? If heaven was real. You know what I mean? Like if you could guarantee me that when I die, I'll live it in eternal bliss. Mm-hmm. If that's like actually proven, I would follow Christianity.
So, but here's the thing. One, it's a flawed thought.
Why?
Because now you're following it for selfish reasons, which makes it not good.
I don't care if I can get there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't, is what I'm saying.
I would be a bad person.
Because the thing is, you're being a good person. The idea of only being a good person so you can get the reward, right, is greed. So you're being your surface, you're being nice, but but I think subsurface, it's not the word subsurface, but like the next layer below is it's for greed. It's like holding the door for someone to say thank you for you.
But I just would have, no, that's not true.
I would say I wouldn't want to know if heaven exists.
No, because if that were the case, let's say my upbringing was the same. I didn't go to church, but there was religion involved in my my day-to-day life.
You're saying if you're going to go to the thing about how religion says that?
No.
I would say that's why it's flawed.
I'm going to say that I would have been from an early age, I would have been brought up as a Christian, knowing that heaven is a guarantee if you become a Christian. That I would have no reason to question the religion in the first place.
There are already people who do that now, right?
But I'm just saying, like the greed thing wouldn't be there. It would just be what I truly wanted because it's what I grew up and I knew that would be real.
No, but you're saying from when you were a kid?
Yes, I'm saying
that's a totally different
the greed
thing.
wouldn't be there because I would be brought up as this person, like a God-fearing man, and I would just want to go because that's what people believe now, right? People believe that if they be a good Christian, they'll go to heaven. That's why they want to live life well. Mm-hmm. And it's usually because they've been brought up as a small child to learn that this is the case. And if they really, really believe it, I feel like anybody would continue to go on.
Very few people are like that, I would say. I think very few people do good
I'm talking about the crazy...
I know what I'm saying. I'm saying very few people, I would say, actually do the things that they think are right according to Scripture strictly because they want to get into heaven.
You think, say most of the people or not?
Not too many. I think most of the time people do the things that say in the Scripture because they feel like that's the right thing to do.
Just because of a sheer moral reason.
A shitty moral reason?
No, a sheer moral.
Oh, they said
morality.
Shitty.
No. A pure moral.
I think
reason.
most people do it for that reason. I think there are some people who do it strictly to get it, but I think the idea of doing that strictly for that as an adult, unless you're completely ignorant, as if you're a child, then it would be greed.
I don't know. I mean, there's people who do it for sure out of sense of morality, but I think people...
So let me ask you something. Somebody who does stuff for other people strictly so other people can do stuff for them, what is that?
I don't think that's greed. What if that's you trying to get good karma? What if you want good things to happen to you, so you want good things to happen? It's like, do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Fair, but what I'm saying is, I think that's a level below on the moral level. I think that's one below for doing the good things because you know that you should, right? I think that's what Jordan Peterson was talking about. Is like you do these things so you feel sufficient. Right? Like I remember Andrew, he was on the podcast with Andrew Schultz, the Flagrant.
Flagrant 2. Peterson was on Flagrant 2?
Yeah.
Really?
It was a great podcast. And it was one of the
Schultz
things
is so funny.
Schultz brought up was like, he goes, when Jordan was talking to him about it, he goes, yeah, you're right. He's like, because I think about it, whenever I get super, super happy, I feel like I'm bottled up with this happiness and it explodes from me. And what do I do? What do I want to do with that? He goes, I want to share that with people.
Yeah.
He's like, so when I do stuff, when I'm like super, super happy about something, I'll buy stuff for people. Or he said, I do things for people that I would think is a good thing.
Right.
Because he's just so overjoyed. Like,
yeah.
Jordan's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. Like the whole point is you get more from doing that, right? Than getting stuff from people.
Yeah.
So that's where you're actually receiving this happiness, this fulfillment, not happiness, but this fulfillment from your life, right?
Yeah.
Is doing things for yourself and doing things for people.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I think like the doing things strictly for the expectation of having something done back to you is, I don't know if I follow that moral compass. I feel like that's empty. I feel that's so surface.
I mean, like,
borderline greedy because you're doing it strictly to get something back, not because you feel like you should do it.
It's if you're doing, but I don't understand how it can be a bad thing if you're doing genuinely nice things for people. Mm-hmm. But the reason behind that is that you also want to have good things to you. You want to have a good life. So
giving to charity, strictly for fame. That's doing.
I guess
doing something for somebody.
I see what you're saying. It's a little grosser in other ways.
That's what I mean.
But
fundamentally, it's grosser.
Yeah, when you're arrogant about it, when you're vain, like
but that's what it is, right?
But most people just say like, I did a favor for you, and then maybe I can like maybe you'll do a favor for me if I ever need one.
I'm not saying that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying is like for me, for example.
Yeah.
Like if we somehow had the same relationship and you've never driven me anywhere, mm-hmm. and you asked me, hey, can you pick me up for work? I would do it in a heartbeat if I had a car, mm-hmm. which I do now. I would. Would I ask you for gas money? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not doing it because you've done it for me before. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I would do it because you're my friend, and if you needed help, I would help you out.
Yeah.
Same with my other friends. If they need something, if they genuinely, don't get me wrong, I can be petty.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm not doing it because you're being a dickhead, whatever. Mm-hmm. Which sometimes is necessary, I feel. But at the end of the day, I'm going to help out my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not doing that because I want them to be able to do that for me.
Yeah, I get that.
And I think if you take that to the idea of unbelievable bliss, which is heaven, I think you have to maximize the other side too then.
But I think it can work oppositely, right? If you find some people are taking advantage of you, mm-hmm. then it doesn't make you want to do that.
No. The thing is, are you willing to accept that result?
What result?
Of being taken advantage of. It's like the idea is I could let you, I'm giving you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to take that sacrifice to help somebody else. To help
I understand, but if someone's like expecting you to drive them, like you're not gonna be like you're gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna drive you. Just even though you're expecting to get a good thing out of it, right? Or no, sorry. Even though you're not expecting a good thing out of it.
No, if someone's being a dick, regardless of what it is. What I'm saying is like I'm not doing it so the person could give me a tap on the back.
But what I'm saying is that if there weren't some level of reciprocation in terms of
I get joy. I get honest joy.
So, but you'd get joy if someone were taking advantage of you, expecting you to drive. Be like, yo, I need a ride here. Let's go. Come on. Would you be like?
No, but here's the thing though. It's that wouldn't happen.
Like, why would you want to be nice to people who do that too?
That's what I'm saying. That person is not being a good friend.
Right. So what I'm saying is like ultimately like kind deeds.
But if someone's doing something negative to me, that's different than not doing a positive.
I suppose. I mean, I guess maybe that's
fundamentally different.
Maybe
right?
that's just the level. Maybe that's just like the.
It's like instead of giving you $5, I'm not giving you any money compared to taking $5. Mm-hmm. Right. The negative thing is definitely there is a big difference between that and not doing anything.
Right. I understand that, but I'm saying like. I guess that's fair. Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah.
That was my biggest thing when it comes to like. That's why I don't think you don't even need to say that. Like the whole idea of going to heaven and shit. Yeah. Right. It's like I think if you think about it long enough, you'll get to the conclusion where you do nice things. It's oddly enough the things that you should be doing are written in the Bible, low key, which is actually kind of funny.
Some things, yeah.
Well, Well, something it's everything, because if you do the umbrella,
Yeah,
things,
like
then
like
you
the
automatically
general
cover everything. Yes,
the general things. Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's exactly, that goes back to the idea of that's how people got morals. But that's why when people say all religion is bullshit, it's like, okay, fine, you can say that, but the lessons that were taught
the
in
supernatural
that,
stuff you can say, yeah, okay, there's no proof of that.
right? But when you say all of it, you're including every aspect
Yeah,
of it. Right?
exactly.
There's a certain moral, map that you get with any sort of religion in one way or another, right? When you get to the nitty gritty, yeah, you can find some weird shit.
Well, that's the problem with religion, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that you're sticking yourself to these set of rules.
Yeah.
It's making you stick to these set of rules instead of being able to just
Yeah.
flow, right? I mean, I feel the same way. That leads into politics too, right? One side wants, if you don't agree with 100%, then you don't belong there.
Yeah.
And the other side is, I don't really care.
Well, that's
as long as you
exactly.
leave me alone.
That's why I was telling, like, so Haley and I were having a conversation. There's like, unless, like, I mean, obviously there's certain cases, but there's three things you never talk about with people that was like, that you don't know well, at least.
Yeah.
Was like
religion, politics,
and money.
Yeah, money.
Because those are things, generally speaking, that you can't change. Even though all of them are adjustable, right? You can always convert religions, you can always switch political parties, you can always make more money, right? But those are things that people internalize to basically determine who they are as people. It's like if there were, it's like in Ava, you had the three aspects of the mother, right? You had the mother, the scientists, and the woman, right? So I guess it's built into the ego, right? Where those things are just happen to be three things that define you as a person. So when someone questions that, it's not like you can't really have a conversation.
We've talked about this before,
right? Like you can't really have a conversation like that's like that's true. I never thought about that. Like a convincing.
It's because it's them. It's who they
exactly
visualize themselves
right
themselves as.
But you can have those conversations with people.
Those are the closest things to you.
Those are basically what make up your
those
ego.
are your core values.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's when people go. Politics don't matter. It's like, no, your politics do matter, right? Because your politics shows where you hold your values.
Right, exactly. But I mean, it doesn't mean
to
that
the bare bone.
Right, exactly. I think the problem is people are, when they're too rigid in those ideologies. Like it's definitely like it shows what you stand for, but because I think people should break free of being so tied so tightly to their to those three things, right?
I think you should just choose what you think is right, and not have to worry about other people. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, if something is a right ideology, just because it's right, you're gonna go, well, I'm not gonna agree with this, even though I think it's right.
Yeah.
Just because it's on the other side of the spectrum.
You're saying people do that, and
yes.
like it's a shitty thing.
And it's a shitty thing to do. 100%. I think you should cherry pick your values.
Yeah, of course. Well, plus,
but But the thing is, they have to align.
What do you mean they have to align?
They have to align. You can't have one thing that says one thing, and then the same way something that's similar to it be the exact opposite.
Give me an example.
Fuck, this is gonna be hard.
I understand. Like
I'm trying to think of something where it's like something that has values on both sides that you could have on opposite sides.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm thinking, like, can you, like, I don't know. Whenever I come think to like a left right issues,
like the difference between let's say the difference between how you feel about unions and how you feel about wages. Right. Let's say you can't be like.
You can't be pro union and then hate your union dues.
Yes.
Kind of shit. Right.
Yeah. Where it's like you can't. It's the things are, even if the ideas are not the exact same thing, but they follow the same train of thought. You can't have one on one side. You know, like you can't be like, I'm cool with guns. I'm cool. I'm all about the gun non-gun control. I guess what's the best way of saying it? Free guns.
Imagine free guns.
No, okay, well, not free guns, but like having guns be available.
Right,
but I'm not about free speech.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
That's what I mean. It's like it doesn't make sense for you to be that and that because it follows the same thing, right? The free speech is there to protect society.
I mean,
and guns are also there to protect society. Oh, well, that's the whole point of the Second Amendment, right? Say specifically, right? So it's like, okay, you don't want free speech, but you're okay with guns. But speech is just is verbal protection.
I suppose, yeah. I think
or the freedom to have that.
I don't think they're as. I think there could be an argument there to make. Like there could be an argument to be made there. Like I see what line you're drawing, but I don't know if I think it would be.
I'm saying people who do that.
I don't think that people like that exist.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, but some people they do.
You think some people believe
they follow a rhetoric? I think it's because some people follow a rhetoric.
Oh, you're saying believe in free speech but not believe in guns?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like people who go if they believe a rhetoric where they believe 3 things super hard and they were convinced about the 4th thing. Mm-hmm. Let's say somebody is I'm anti-gun, I'm anti First Amendment, I'm all about trans rights, for example, and okay, let's just say those 3, just off the top of my head, okay? And then the person's convinced, like for example, the trans shouldn't participate in the Olympics with the opposite, mm-hmm. with the gender that they claim to be, right? So their thing was changed. Those top two things, like the free speech and like the no guns, to me have way stronger arguments to have than the trans person participating in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, but they were told this is true, and they won't budge on these 2 things, but they learned nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's possible, where people can have opposites that follow the same value but are on opposite sides.
I see what you're saying. I think there's some contradictions there, but I don't think I don't think one negates the other. I think you could just believe that and have your own version of what those things mean. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think maybe if someone believes in free speech but doesn't believe in guns, maybe they don't believe in free speech. Like in Canada, we have sort of free speech, right? Mm-hmm. We have a modified free speech, mm-hmm. right? So maybe that's their version. Maybe that's what they want. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
but that's not free speech, though.
That's not American free speech. No,
yeah, and the laws don't make sense anyway, because all the laws we're saying is the reason why this is classified as hate speech is because it offends a certain group of people.
Yeah.
Right? But what about all the other offensive speech that's used? Right? Like let's say you're a lazy person, mm-hmm. and somebody calls you lazy.
Of course, yeah.
You're going to be offended by that.
I agree. That's what I mean. Like that.
Or lazy people shouldn't be getting this. And as a lazy person,
yeah,
I'm offended by that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I agree. I don't think it's
a slippery slope.
Right. I understand that. I think you can say I don't want people to say mean things, mm-hmm. because it's terrible. Mm-hmm. Of course, I think that's just. I think you could feel that way, but also think and in that same vein, I believe in people what they want to say. I just want people to say mean things, mm-hmm. kind of thing.
I mean, you don't want people. You don't want people to say mean things. But I'm not going to force you not to be able to say it.
They don't necessarily. I guess their version of what free speech is you can say what you want as long as it's not hate filled with hate. And it's of course that's an arbitrary term. I understand.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
You can't
put
that into law, and that's fair, and I get that. But the fact of the matter is that all of Europe is like that. Basically, all of the world except for the United States is mm-hmm. like that, right? And for the most part,
I don't think that's a. I don't know if you're trying to make an argument for it.
I'm just trying
to. I don't think that makes it a valid argument.
I don't think it does either. I'm just saying to worry about that. I get what you're saying. It's the principle of it. It's fair, and I completely agree. It's I like the fact that people are too harsh, are overly dramatic about it. I guess it's just
was you're always gonna have both on both sides, right? As soon as one person becomes overly dramatic, that means that's gonna make another person on the opposite side.
You know what?
Want to match that level.
It's probably good to have a certain group of people, be it Americans or otherwise, that kind of pushes back, because it kind of in a ways does it at the very least it sets a precedent for the world mm-hmm. to not go too far. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Because realistically in the West, there's a little there's some what do you call it, censoring sort of laws that there are, which aren't great, but for the most part people live pretty great lives. You know what I mean? Like it's not like we're not we aren't
in the world. Yeah,
we aren't oppressed. Like living in Canada, living in like Germany, Greece, Croatia, like all these like Western European countries, right? Yeah, and especially in Europe, right? They're very socialist there. It's a little different, I mean, compared to the two, but like even still, like they live okay lives. I get what you're saying.
I mean, you compare Europe, but if you compare Europe, any European country to the United States, it's not even close.
I know because of the size. I get that. And even
no. I'm talking about like money.
Oh, right. I mean, for sure. Yeah. In terms of influence, 100%, the United States is like the most influential place in the world. But it also has a lot of like downsides. Like there's some double-edged swords when it comes to stuff like that. Like the idea of capitalism is great. Like I think having the United States in the world is better than not having it in the world. Of course. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think the entire world needs to be like the United States necessarily for it to be a good world to live in, by and large. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm glad they exist, and I'm like the idea that people are inspired by that to push back. It like, if the line is always being pushed towards you, so that like the line that you can't cross kind of thing, if it's always being pushed towards you, at least having that presence there of that kind of pushback, it almost like pushes it back a little bit. So it might come down a bit, but it'll be pushed back. You know,
what's the whole idea? Like, that's how you move stuff.
So it's like
right?
a shining beacon. Yeah.
Where you get up to the point where the person says, like, hey, stop, and then you stop right there.
Yeah.
And then you move a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then once you wait for them to say, oh, stop.
Yeah.
And then sooner or later, the guy's you're gonna be pushed back 20 feet. You're gonna have no idea how you got there, right? So that's the whole point. You need to have that pushback, that loud voice.
Yeah.
Right? Because people don't know what happens when the left goes too far. Right? People aren't educated on that shit. Right? Nobody knows about what happened in Russia. Nobody knows what happened in Ukraine. Right? Nobody knows what actually happened in places like Yugoslavia, or used to be Yugoslavia. Nobody knows what actually happened in those things, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But everybody knows what happened in Nazi Germany, right? It was a right-wing faction named themselves socialists. But European politics and Western politics are totally different, right? The terms that they use they're the same term, but they mean something totally different.
The term liberal and conservative and like the values,
it means something totally different in Europe than it does here.
It's so crazy because like liberals now are conservative and conservatives now are liberal, like by definition. Do you know what I mean? Like people who are liberal are considered like you can't do this. It's all a lot of can'ts. Whereas like people who are liberal typically mean we can do this kind of thing.
Well, it's all about,
so it's like it's literally switched.
Being conservative is all about, let me do whatever the fuck I want to do. I'll let you do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, like
and leave me alone. Me alone.
Well, kind of. I guess like in a way, but classical conservatism, and classical liberalism. Like you think back to the 60s.
Well,
right?
what do you think? So many classic liberals now are more right wing than ever.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They're more right wing than ever because everything got pushed leftwards, and they're like, wait, no, I'm not with those guys.
100%. I'm saying like it's like the definition, like there's still some liberal ideas that so-called liberals, even like the woke liberals, kind of still hold.
Free speech is a liberal idea.
That's what I'm saying. I know.
Free speech is such like people don't know that. It's like. What do you think most journalists were liberal?
Totally, like back in the 60s, right?
60s, 70s,
like
80s, 90s.
It was Republicans that did that were trying to stop free speech in a way, right? So it had the tides have turned, right?
Well, it's not even the tides. The tides never turned. It went out. It went out with the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Like you have like liberals, like even liberals who are okay with, let's say, touchy, okay, like abortion, okay. Liberals in the 80s and 90s are probably the same way, where it's like that's what they're okay with the Texas law that just got passed, Supreme Court thing, where it's the heartbeat law rule, right? They just passed it in the like 6 weeks or whatever. They would be okay with that, right? Say
that again. The
heartbeat law. So the law is after 6 weeks or whenever there's a heartbeat, you can't abort the baby anymore.
Yeah.
Classic liberals would have been okay with that and are okay with that. The problem are the people who are so far left. They say, I'm cool with abortion up to 9 months, up to birth.
Yeah.
Where you have a 8.5-month-old baby, and they're like, yeah, we're cool with just killing that. And if we fail, you're giving us permission to try again outside the womb.
Yeah.
Like in New York.
So basically just murder a baby.
Straight up.
Like Alex Jones.
Yeah. It's just like, it's one of those
That's what he talks about.
Yeah. No, but it's like
No,
it's all about the location. If the
I
baby's
know.
in the womb, then it's not a thing. It's a parasite, quote unquote parasite. But if it's outside of the womb, now it's a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing. Even like classically, like the old blue dogs are now more right leaning,
Yeah.
are seen as right wing,
Yeah.
and that's what makes the people who are right wing. That's why everybody's called
It's
far
true.
right, right?
It's 100%. It's neocons and neoliberals,
Yeah.
right? It's all it's a totally it's weird. Like and then again, you go back to Europe. The way European the way like the term liberal and conservative and whatever it just doesn't really mean much. Left, right. It's kind of like there's a blurred line, even like when it comes to like the extremists. Like left, like it's almost like a cycle, right? Like leftist extremist is pretty much just a rightist extremist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's all about control.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a different version of control.
That's what it is.
Right.
The problem is
It's all a dictatorship. I mean, it's what
the
fuck?
problem is that the left does it out of fake love.
Right. That is the
That's
kicker.
the fundamental difference.
Whereas
right?
whereas the right does it out of like power and like want, because I think like the idea essentially is that like there's sections of elites in a fascist society, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but like at the top is the king.
Yes, and those
Right.
but the elites are chosen by
So
by
not
money.
Not
right?
everybody's equal. Yeah, it's by birth or by influence or
exactly.
whatever.
In the liberal system, in communism, it's the chosen people in power.
Right.
Right? It's not like the thing with the right side is that you could have, if you make more money, you go higher.
Yeah.
The left one, it doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
Right? It doesn't matter. It could be whoever wants to will be. But the biggest problem is that it's under the ruse of kindness. Critics gave the new He-Man the new He-Man series a 96%.
Why?
Because it's a libfest, atrocious fucking show. The audience gave it a 37.
Yeah.
Okay? It dropped out of Netflix top 10 in a week.
They put that there though.
Doesn't matter.
They can.
But that's even worse.
It was never in the top 10.
That's
in the first
even
place.
worse. It was doing so bad, they're like, just pull it. It dropped out of Netflix top 10 TV shows
yeah.
in a day.
Didn't you say what happens in it?
Okay, so spoiler alert. They kill He-Man off in like the first 3 episodes. And they give his like... the sword gets split into 2 and given to 2 different female heroes
course.
who happen to be gay and fall in love. Okay? That's the fucking show.
Space lesbians? That sounds
It's
every kid's
terrible.
fantasy.
It's terrible. And the worst part is before they released it, Kevin James, or where the fuck is... It's not Kevin James. Kevin, whatever his name is. The dude from Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh.
He's
The
the guy
guy that
who
wears the jersey
He's the
all
guy
the
who,
time.
yes, he's the guy who produced it. He goes, no, don't worry about it. It's not going to be like that because it was leaked that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's not going to happen. Blah blah blah. And it fucking happened. He's a liar. What a piece of shit.
Why did he just blatantly lie?
Because everybody was saying how shit that would be. He knew it was going to be bad.
But then people wouldn't watch it after they knew
Nobody
he lied.
knew.
But if you watch, you're not
He
gonna.
lied. That's why do you think it dropped? Because nobody was watching it. Because one person saw like, dude, it's terrible. And everybody's like, okay, I'm not watching it. That's why he dropped out of the fucking
but
things.
it's just weird how he would just blatantly lie about that.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna fuck him. It's not gonna make
That's
it
the point.
do well.
Yeah, but like they don't care.
Who doesn't care?
Liberals don't care. They lie all the time.
No,
You can
but
have them
like he
recorded.
wants to make money. He's not looking to fucking. He
That's what I'm
wants
saying.
good
But they
shit
don't,
on.
the people who's supporting him don't care because he can say one thing the next minute and a week later say the opposite as long as it follows the agenda, right? Like,
Dude,
just,
I don't think
quickly-
he's. But he's not. He's not a politician. Is my
I
point.
understand that, but what he's doing, he's in the fucking Hollywood, man.
But don't you think that his desire to make money would trump his desire to make
He's
a
already made
political
the money.
statement?
He already makes money. It's not per view.
But he. No, I understand
It's
that.
a Netflix deal. They already gave him the cash.
But they probably like okay. Even if that's the case, if he wants to get another thing put on Netflix,
He did. They're doing a second season.
Are they really?
Yeah. Because I guess they agreed to 2 seasons. It was terrible. Nobody watched
So
it.
I mean, then nobody will watch it. I guess maybe I
I'm
don't
telling-
unless
Yeah, exactly.
he must not, he doesn't probably doesn't get a lump sum. It probably is based on
Well, you pay-
on how
you
the
get- you get
numbers.
paid- I don't think so. Because it's Netflix original. It's not. It's only there. Anyway, and then that's one side.
I don't
right?
know. That seems
and
like a
then the
little
other
bit.
side is this movie that you definitely should watch. I don't know where you can. I don't know where you can watch it though. Forgot where. Probably on the website. It's called No Safe Spaces by
That sounds familiar.
Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager.
I think you told me
I was
about
telling
that.
you
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is this movie.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's pretty much exactly what you think. Right? If you don't know who Dennis Prager is or Adam Carolla, they're both conservative. Adam Carolla is a radio personnel for like the last 40 years from California. Comedian, whatever. Dennis Prager was a professor at University of Boston for Jewish history. He's conservative, whatever. They make this movie about the idea of what the left wants, right? This dystopian, whatever. No free speech. Take this. Take rights away, or whatever, etc., etc. And like the movie was about. The audience gave it when I heard him on Jordan Peterson's podcast. That's what we were talking about it. At the time, or what he said was the audience score gave it a 99%. The critics gave it a 50.
I mean,
it's kind of like
I understand. There's a certain
but that's what like,
skew in Hollywood.
Yeah, the bias is unreal. It's crazy.
100%.
Look at a little bit closer to home. Venom. Dude, I was so worried when I saw Venom because the critics gave Venom, I think at the time when I looked, it was like a 37.
The new Venom or the old one?
The old one.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, a 37. I'm like, but the audience is giving it a 92.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is before I had any idea how skewed this is on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. All these things were on Rotten Tomatoes. On Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, man, like, I hope this movie's not shit. And I watched it. It was fucking amazing. Venom was great.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why was it? But why did they? Oh, because it was a.
Yes, it didn't agree fully with the liberal views of Hollywood.
You're such a.
But that's what it is.
I understand the rhetoric, but it's like, it's just so funny how hard you play the anti-liberal.
Because I am.
Voice. It's just so funny.
Not that I am. It's just, to me, it's crazy talk.
Yeah, culturally speaking, liberals have it backwards for sure.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those.
But it's a certain subsect of liberal. When you when you say lib, it's like fair, but it's the loudest like.
Well, I
side.
usually say leftists.
Yeah. There you go.
Either way,
it's
liberal
like
can use it as a term.
It's like basically just like woke teenagers.
But it's not. It's a problem. It's because they're woke. They're woke because their professors are the ones that taught them.
Yeah, I guess it's partially
and
that too.
Hollywood has taught them something, and where they're living, like especially places like California and shit like that.
But I think it's just like it's the leftover shit from like the 60s when everything was very conservative, right? But now that everything is already very liberal, if you want to make it more liberal, it just sounds like, or like quote unquote liberal.
So. I think it's people trying to push a narrative.
I'm sure.
I think it might have stemmed from.
I know.
The 60s,
I'm saying like that's.
I think it's secret communism. If you had to ask me.
Maybe it's secret.
Well,
communism.
I don't think that's what that is. But what I'm saying is the people behind it that push that want that.
I'm sure there's some level of Russian.
Yes, and they're pushing. No, it doesn't have to be Russian.
Influence.
It doesn't have to be Russian though. I mean, you could say I guess Marx, because he was from the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
But that's what that is, right? It's not the whole idea what a Marxist is, right? It's a communist and a Marxist is pretty much the same thing. It's not the exact same thing. I'm not going to say
Marxism is more the ideology of it,
but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
because
communism is just it in action.
The thing is, the only way you can do that is with communism, right? Because you need to have a force to push.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody would willingly do those things.
Communism would be when it's like employed in a government. You know, like a Marxist
with force, with power.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah. Well, one way or another, it all fucking blows chunks.
Extremely sucks. I hate right-wing fascists, racist pricks, and I hate left-wing fascists, authoritarian, communist dictators. Yeah. How about everybody sucks and everybody else is worse? Dude. I'm pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know you're probably the worst one. I'd rather live under Stalin than
dude
than live under.
So you lived under me? It'd be so hedonistic. It'd be crazy.
Oh yeah, here. Let me show you. Let me show you a pretty cool movie trailer. You're gonna be so down to watch this.
My granddaughter has been lost to us. I would have her return to me post haste. And you, sir, I am told,
Oh my
are the
god,
man to do the job.
dude!
Look at that
Nicolas Cage is not in action here. He is not a cool action guy. He's not. Look how shit his beard looks.
guy. Dude, that's
If
definitely like
you
not
are
all.
not looking at this on YouTube.
It's a
It
movie
looks
called.
like he has shit on his face.
Okay, the movie's called Prisoners of the Ghostland, and it looks like the greatest movie of all time.
No, it doesn't.
Don't you disrespect this movie?
Look, okay,
sir.
number one, look at his hairline. At this point, dude, cut it. Number two, why is it so dark? Number three, his beard is unbelievably dark, but you can still see the grays on the top because they use the coloring.
He probably does the
and they
sh-
did
the
the just
shoe
for men.
polish shit. No, the shoe polish to make it like-
And it looks like shit. Whoever the fucking makeup artist for this needs to be fired.
Dude, just watch the rest of this
I'm
because
watching. Fuck
because-
Nicolas Cage.
Each arm is equipped with an explosive device. Your trousers are also equipped with explosives.
Yes, and yes, they were by his
We are at the
balls.
point where we now
Dude,
Dude,
what? What is
the
that? Like,
worst thing I've ever seen so far. I can't believe
this is a 2-minute trailer.
this is a gross.
We're watching the whole thing.
Okay, that's fine.
The entire
This
thing.
looks like a B-roll film.
Dude, this movie looks like it was made with $100,000. Okay, and it looks wonderful. Look at the masterpiece he made with probably about $100,000. Okay, let's continue.
a stand lies a highway where evil reigns.
What is this?
At the end of 5 days, if you have not returned with Bernice, well, I think you get the idea, son. Godspeed.
Why would you ever agree to this? Why would you ever agree to do that? Hey, dude, you have fucking 5 days to get this bitch. If not, you blow the fuck up.
Maybe he's a prisoner. Maybe he's like.
I'm sitting in the jail.
Well, we're gonna find out when you watch this.
You
You're watching this.
think
movie.
I'm watching this?
Yes.
It's not happening.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna give it its own special.
I'm not.
We
doing
are.
that. There's so many better things to do that on. I'm not doing.
No,
Prisoners
we're giving a
of the
special to
Ghostland.
Prisoners of the Ghostland. The next year, maybe, if I remember.
You're like a total gonzo cinematic
right.
experience, as in your fucking brain was out the window.
This is the Ghostland,
Look at the Ghostland,
land
dude.
of no escape. We are not the ones who hold her captive.
It's been 2 days, and still she is missing.
How do I get out of here?
You must surrender to fate.
Just look at the football helmet.
I am radioactive.
Yes,
No one escapes the
he's
Ghostland.
radioactive.
No one!
Radioactive, radioactive.
I'm not a prisoner!
Wow, dude. Unreal,
That trailer made me physically ill.
dude. That movie.
I hate bad movies.
Dude, what
I
are you talking about?
Hate
Bad
it.
movie.
And what
Are
really
you
gets
on-
me going
are you on the
are
cocaine
people
now?
who fake liking bad movies.
Who's faking anything?
It's either A, you're fake liking
Dude, one of my
bad
favorite movies. Favorite
Pao.
movies is number one. Yeah, Kung Pao for sure.
Yeah, same name.
And The Room.
Okay. Now, do you like it ironically, though?
I think it is a masterpiece. I'll leave it at that.
Because
it's a masterpiece.
an ironic masterpiece.
I don't. I'm gonna give you one
why,
word. To
Why do you
describe
like The Room?
I'm gonna give
let me
you.
just get to the final
I'm gonna give
point.
you one word: masterpiece.
Okay, so it's fun. You think it's funny?
I'm not.
Okay,
that's
so-
all I'm gonna say about that.
You know how the movie is bad when it was supposed to be a serious film, and the only reason why you think it's good is because you think it's funny. So you know what that is? That's missing the mark. That's what that is.
Okay. Wow. Someone
Okay?
brought their sassy
and
pants
what,
today.
And what is the Greek term for missing the mark? I can't remember, but I'm telling you right now, it means sin. It's a sin to make those movies. Okay? Nicolas Cage has never been, nor will he ever be, a good actor. I'm saying that right now. I watched National Treasure. It was a piece of shit.
Dude, that movie's fantastic.
No, it's not. Don't say it's fantastic.
It's like the Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Light.
No.
Yeah.
It's like the Da Vinci Code took a shit. Okay?
You don't know what you're talking
And it's worse than that.
You,
It's
sir.
genocide. That's what that is. I'd
Dude.
rather have the Hulk. I'm kidding.
It's iconic. It's poetic.
Listen.
It's undeniable. It's a
How to put it?
masterpiece.
The social consequence of that movie has nothing to do with the value of that movie. Okay, just
Has
because
everything to do with
no,
it.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
It can be. It's a terrible movie. Okay, I haven't seen The Room.
You haven't
I
seen
have
The Room?
not.
Dude, it's wonderful. It's truly
It's
wonderful.
probably really funny,
Anyways.
but that's not the point of the movie, and that's what I'm getting at. Okay, I get physically upset. Like I want to go through a wall, as well as want to throw up while I'm going through the wall.
you got to learn to like things. You got to learn to love.
No.
Yes.
No.
You got to
I
learn
think
to
you're
see the
gonna-
bright side.
I think you live a shitty existence if you're
I
trying
think-
to learn to like things.
I think you're too much of a pessimist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Everything is no, this isn't. No, this sucks. This
Do I
is
talk
ass.
it with negative tone?
Oh,
Yes.
Hundo.
And I was one of my
All
biggest
day
problems
long.
when I was in university. When I was in
You still and
when I was
you
in
can,
college.
You continue it.
I know that because it's blunt.
You like Twilight.
Yes. Is it bad? Yes. I will admit it's bad. It has some good points to it. Okay.
It has nothing good to it.
That's not true.
Twilight is a dirty piece of teenage loving bullshit.
We have to play this video.
Okay.
Okay. It's called The Sierra Sounds.
The Seer of Sounds.
The Sierra, Sierra Sounds. I don't know if I'm able to give a little bit of backstory on it. This is in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So just off the top of the head, beforehand, there was no audio technology to be able to edit that audio
Okay.
to make it sound like that. I mean, maybe there was, but it was they did tests on the audio, and there was no trace of any sort of editing on it. The
Okay.
one video I'm talking about, the audio I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay. 2, with the sounds that came from it, they determined that it was too high and too low of a register for a human being to be able to make that level
really?
of sound with their vocal cords.
But can you find you know what the video looks like?
The one where the guy's explaining it.
Like, well, I just want to know.
Okay, so
I want to hear it.
Mr.
I want to hear. I want to hear this.
Yeah, no, he talks about it and he tells the sound. So look up search, Mr. Ballen. So this is what I was saying before about how the vocal range. I don't know if he's gonna say it after this, but he might not. The vocal range, it's too low for a human and too high for a human. And they're saying with the vocal range that the audio listeners were saying, the professionals saying, the creature was anywhere. The thing that was making that sound was anywhere between 7 and 9 feet tall.
Wow.
Had to be like
Okay.
with the length of the vocal cords. Kind of sounds like a wolf, but it's not.
It sounds like a loon or something.
There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks.
What was that?
It's a hard act to follow.
It sounds like he talks to us and they talk to each other.
Yeah. Right there, just seen moving right through there.
But that's what I mean. Like, they say that that what he was getting at was like they couldn't record that at the same time. They couldn't dub the two voices over. They couldn't make their voices and their voices at the same time.
Yeah.
With the acoustics of inside there with the equipment in the 70s. And if they did, even if they did, you would be able to see that they did something to the audio. Like in the data of the audio.
Couldn't there have just been another person that they sent?
That's what I said. They had it so it's impossible for them to hit that, have that register.
It's essentially proven that that wasn't done by
So
the voice of a human being.
Yes.
Wild. That's a gross voice, dude.
Dude, it sounds like they've, to me, what it sounds like is like if these things are Bigfoots, okay? I mean, it's very far-fetched to actually think that Bigfoot exists just because the chances of people not seeing it is low, but that is possible, right? We discover new species all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if the species that you find, if you find it, most of the time you get killed, then that's even less people, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Looking for it, for one.
But it's like, I guess it's so, because it kind of sounded like a man.
That's what I'm getting at. I think what it is like they're mimicking what they hear from humans talk. And they try to make it with like some gross, they don't make it, but when they mimic, it makes it this gross like representation.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Of like, it's gross.
It's creepy.
It feels weird.
It's like if an animal talked to you, but in a really creepy voice.
Yeah, exactly. Like the whooping is kind of like, even the whooping, it sounds off. It doesn't sound.
I don't give a fuck. It's the
whatever
the fuck
fake,
that
like,
was.
yeah, so weird, man.
Jesus, man, that was
dude.
weird.
It was like fucking 11 o'clock at night. I'm watching this in my family room. Christine's
I'd have
asleep
been
and
so
I'm high.
creeped out.
I'm like, jeez.
I would have been creeped out as.
I'm like, I'm never going in the woods again.
Jesus.
Okay, would you rather? We're still on good time.
Are we?
Yeah, it's only an hour 20.
Would you rather, like, if I grew a dick,
Jesus Christ,
or if I kept my vagina but looked like a man and like had a beard, but I was still me? So like you for Christine.
Wait.
And then guess what, Billy?
So wait, let me repeat that because I don't know if that picked you up. So, would you rather?
You really have to look like a man?
Would you rather have your
Girlfriend grow?
Would you rather have your girlfriend grow? What is it? A penis?
Does she still
Or
have a
would you
vagina?
rather?
She looks exactly
Does she
like
still have a
her.
vagina, or is the vagina gone?
The vagina's gone. She's got
Okay, so then it's gonna be the man one, 100% of the time.
So it's a man with a vagina.
Yeah, and I'm doing that every single time.
I called that he'd pick that one.
Now the reason why is because I want kids.
Oh, interesting.
So if she doesn't have a vagina, I can't have kids.
Yeah,
But
you can get a surrogate.
Yeah, you could freeze.
I mean, then
her
what's the
eggs.
point
You can
then?
freeze her eggs before
Yeah, then
she
why
goes
even bother
to
then?
the
Might as well just might as well dump her and go find somebody else then. What the fuck? The same shit. The whole point is you want to do it with this one person.
I guess. Oh, that'd be.
can't remember
I
what you
picked
said.
the dick.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, I picked the female body with the dick because I said you could just
said
put it
you
in your
spend
butt.
more time with me than my vagina.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I said. Right. Now, yeah, just think about it.
I would just have her look like a woman.
Just dress her. Just
Yeah.
make her trans.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, I know that one pair would pick it. 100% he picked the dude with the vagina.
Oh, that's fucked, dude.
I just know it. That's such a you choice.
I'm
gonna repeat that just in case nobody can hear it. But it was: Would you rather have your girlfriend grow a penis instead of a vagina but still look like a woman, or have them look like a man but still have a vagina? If you're a male dating this person,
Yes. Yeah, if you're a man.
yeah. I said the penis. With the woman body, Pero said the opposite. Because he wants kids. Like a bitch.
Crazy, dude.
All right, dude. I'll leave it there. That was a quick one. Good.